Silent Hill F came out and I took a look at it, and the cringe level was just too much that I had to play the original Silent Hill just to see where it all started and how could uh, how could a popular franchise get so low. And so I played the original Silent Hill on PS1, and I got shocked. The experience that I had was one of a kind. The horror experience was just it shocked me. I didn't expect to be scared and to be horrified at times, and uh, I had given up on the horror games, and I never watch horror movies because they didn't scare me. But this one actually got me scared, and the sound design, the experience, the camera, it was shocking. And so I wanted to answer a question: that is it still playable in this day and age when we are all used to modern controls like Silent Hill 2? To answer that question, I must say that it definitely does have outdated controls and gameplay. Especially sometimes you have no idea. You have to search it online and find a way. But it had also some amazing things that you cannot find anywhere but in those old games. A better question would be not that is the game playable after 20, 30 years, but is the game worth playing after 20 and 30 years? And I must say, hell yes, it is. Because you cannot find anything like that, anything like this game, ever again. That was a one time and only thing. It was a masterpiece of its time, and that's it. They tried to replicate it, but they did good things on Silent Hill 2, of course, but there is something uncanny about the PS1 graphics that just makes everything scarier. PS1 has these chunky graphics, very low poly characters, and dirty textures that was specific to its own era, and you can't find it nowadays. And that's one of the reasons that the games don't scare me too much anymore, because when you can see everything, what is there left to be afraid of? You're not afraid of anything because you can see everything, and that leaves nothing for the imagination to work its way to scare you. However, the graphics might turn some people off because there is something with 3D graphics. When it is 2D, no matter how pixelized or how shitty the drawings are, it's still a drawing, and you can shove it off and say, okay, it's a drawing. But with 3D, it's not like that. 3D tried to be realistic, and when it doesn't look realistic, it could shove you the wrong way. However, in this case, in the Silent Hill case, the shitty graphics actually helps the experience. Like when an enemy attacks you, you can't really say what they are. They look like something that walks, but that's it. You can't really discern what the creature is. And so your imagination goes wild, and it scares the shit out of you. The Silent Hill 2 remake lost that ability because it tried to recapture the horror of the original Silent Hill 2, but When you recreate it in higher graphics, in better graphics, you remove the imagination of the player from the experience, and that takes away a lot of the horror. Another great thing of the Silent Hill that I miss in modern games was seeing the sometimes fixed camera angles and the old camera movement of the games, especially in the PS1 era. When the camera is fixed, you have more control of how to frame the shot and create a fearful experience for the player. But when the player has full control of the camera, like modern games and Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 2 is a great example. When player has the full control of the camera, they can see everything, they can move around, and there is nothing to be afraid of. Like, imagine if you could see at nights. You wouldn't be afraid of the dark anymore, because you could see everything. And that removes the magic and that removes the fear. However, in this game, it was not like so. I really enjoyed such restricted cameras in older games, especially in the horror games like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, because it really fits the experience. That the director has control over the shot, like a movie. Modern cameras are not games anymore, they are simulations. They don't create an experience, they rather create a simulation of a character who's walking in a hellish horror world.
What is this? What's going on here?
Another great thing of the Silent Hill was the sound and the music. The sound direction for this game was perfection, pure perfection. Sometimes you would go for quite a while without hearing anything, just your footsteps into the darkness in silence. And then when the alarm and the radio would go off, you would know that the enemies are close and that would freak you out. And then, like, you are walking in an empty room, suddenly there is a sound and you're just freaked out. And the other noises, like the moving, a moving giant engine or the sound of babies crying, I don't know. The way they used these sounds, it just was perfect. It would just freak you out. However, the opening music was kinda cute and it also added to the creepiness of the game because it's such a hellish game and the opening and the ending as well. The ending had this weird, freaky behind the scene stuff, like the actors were laughing and smiling and all that after experiencing such a horror experience and being told such a tragic story, getting the worst ending, and then seeing that behind the scenes stuff, the laughing and shit, that was freaky as well. That was very creepy. I mean, right after you see Harry dead in his car, they throw you such a funny scene, such a meme final credits. So after saying so many good things about the game, let's talk about some of its shits as well. The game was shitty at times. The controls were so choppy and sometimes completely unresponsive. The gun aiming was garbage and the enemies would sometimes just hit you no matter how much you try to avoid them. And the puzzles were sometimes unsolvable, especially when you had to explore the city and find your own way without the game ever mentioning of anything to guide you to the right direction. You had to just go around, explore the city, and hopefully you will find your way. There was somewhere close to the end of the game that I had to go back to the previous level, previous part of the city that the game starts in, and the path was there without the game ever mentioning anything of it. I was searching the city for hours. Nothing came out of it. And I searched it online. Turned out that you must go back almost to where you came from. There weren't many cases of such things. Like nowadays you have internet and you could search anything. And these things aren't that problematic. But that is one of the game's weaknesses. One other weakness of the game was the designs of characters and environments. They were hellish because of the style and the PS1 graphics. They looked scary, of course, but the characters were random at best. Their looks and the places you would go, like a hospital and a school and streets. I mean, they were good randoms. They pulled it off perfectly fine, and it was just good, just great. But the design wise, the game was kinda low on that part. I guess they tried to improve it in the further games by having better designed characters and environments like a train station or shopping mall or stuff like that.
Daddy, help me. Please? Where are you?
Cheryl!
However, overall, the game was a great experience. If you want to experience something unique and horror and scary, without a doubt, go play this game and just ignore the choppy controls and sometimes unresponsive designs. It has a lot of good things to offer that the choppy controls and the shitty graphics can't really take the good experience away. So to answer the question, if is the game playable, I should say it is playable, but with its own challenges. However, to answer the question, is the game Worth playing? Fuck yes, it is worth playing. It is one of the masterpieces. It's one of the gems, and if you haven't played it, you're losing it. I'm telling you, you're losing a great game. It's one of the good classics, and what's better these days than to play good classics, because the new games are just shit these days, and it's easy to just install some emulator or buy a cheap old console, PS1, PS2. I don't know if you can still find a PS1 or PS2 console though, but just install an emulator. The emulators now work on Android phones too, so what's the excuse? There are tons of games to enjoy on those platforms. Tons of good games. So yeah, thank you for listening to me. Bye bye.
Daddy, help me. Daddy, where are you?
Cheryl!